Hi everyone, welcome to Art Club. Today we are going to be making some felt finger puppets. What you'll be needing today is a pencil, a scissor. You're going to need your felt from your Art Club folder. You should have all different colors here that you can use. We're going to need our paintbrush and our glue from our folder as well. Now your paintbrush is probably taped to a large piece of like cardboard, so you can just carefully peel that off. We just need the brush, but you can leave the tape on the board for another project. We're also going to need our little cup of glue from our folder. That is going to be in a bag, so hopefully it did not spill in there. And you should have a puppet template, which is going to be a little piece of paper that looks like this. I think yours is probably like more of a beige color. So today we can create a finger puppet of whatever you would like. You can choose to make an animal, a character from a video game or a movie, if you want to make a person, or even just like any kind of random monster. You can really make whatever you would like. The first thing you're going to do is pick what color you would like as the base of your finger puppet. I'm going to do yellow, and I think I'm just going to make a little monster guy. So I am going to lay my template on the piece of felt that I want to be the body of my finger puppet. And with my pencil, I'm just going to go back and forth to trace my template onto my felt. You might have to go over it a couple of times just so you can see it, especially on those darker colors. But you just need to be able to see it enough to cut it out. It doesn't have to be perfect. That looks pretty good. I can put my template to the side, and I'm actually going to fold this piece of felt in half so I can cut out both the front and the back of my puppet at the same time. You can just cut out your first piece, then trace your template again on the other half and cut out a second piece. But I think folding it and cutting once is a little bit easier. I just have to make sure that I hold it down really well as I'm cutting so it doesn't move around too much. And since I am cutting almost like a thicker fabric, I'm gonna have to squeeze pretty hard with my scissor to get it to cut. Perfect. So that is going to be the base of our finger puppet. So this should be big enough for you to fit about 2 fingers inside your puppet. If you want to make yours smaller or you want it to have a different shape, you can do that. Just make sure you'll be able to fit at least 1 finger inside while leaving some space around the edge, because we are going to have to glue it, which is what I'm going to do next. So I'm going to hold out both of my pieces, and I'm going to make sure that the pencil side is facing up so I can still see a little bit of that pencil edge from when I cut. I want to make sure I add glue to that side, so then once I'm done with my puppet, you won't see it. I'm going to open up my little cup of glue. Now we want to be careful with this kind of glue because it is a craft glue that is going to work well with gluing things like fabric. So you want to make sure you don't get it on your clothes, and if you get it on your table, just wipe it up with some soap and water pretty quickly and you should be fine. Now I'm going to take my glue on my paintbrush, and I am just going to paint it around the edge of my fabric. So I am just going to give a nice little border of glue all the way around. It does not need to be too thick, but I don't want to get too close to the center because we want to make sure we leave enough space for our fingers. We also do not want to put glue along the bottom because that is where the hole is going to be that's going to open up, so we can stick our fingers inside the puppet. So I'm just bringing this glue all the way around the edge, almost like a little frame. And then I'm going to put a little bit on my other piece too. Again, I'm using the side where I could still see those pencil lines from when I traced, just so we don't see those once it is finished. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna leave my brush there. And now I'm just going to sandwich my pieces together, making sure I line them up as best as I can. And then I'm just going to press around the edges to seal in those sides, lock it in, pinching all the way around so it can get glued together nicely. And you might start to feel some of the glue seep through the fabric if you used a lot of it, but if you get it on your hands, you could just wash it off later. It's not a big deal. The most important thing is that we don't add any glue on that bottom section because you want to be able to fit your fingers in there so it can actually be a puppet. All right, there we go. I'm gonna let that sit and dry for a second, and now I'm going to design the rest of my puppet. So for starters, my puppet is going to need some eyes. I'm going to grab some white And with my pencil, I'm going to draw on the shape I would like for my puppet's eyes. I can hold it up on my puppet to make sure it is going to be a good size. I think I'm going to do one small eye and one larger eye. Now, every piece that we add onto our puppet today is going to be cut out of our felt and then glued on. We're not going to be drawing anything on it. Everything should be its own individual piece of fabric. So right now I'm cutting out the white part of the eye, and then I'm also going to cut out the black part from a different piece of felt and glue it onto the inside. So everything is going to be its own little layer. So once I drew it on my white felt, I am just taking my scissor, carefully cutting it out, making sure I like the way that it looks, and then I can add some glue and stick it on to my yellow base. Again, I'm putting glue on the side where I can still see those pencil lines, so when I do glue it on, I won't see those anymore. And you don't need a lot, just a little bit of glue in the center will be fine. And then I can place my eyes where I want them. There we go. I think I'm going to get some black so I can do the inside part of the eye. So again, I'm going to draw the shape that I want with my pencil and then cut it out. It is going to be a little bit harder to see on the black. Maybe a white colored pencil would be easier. There we go. Maybe I'll make my eyes looking in different directions. Now I can glue on the black part of my eye. Again, just a little bit of glue on the back, and then I can stick it on. And our glue does dry clear, so it's not a big deal if you get it on other places by accident. Now that I have my eyes, I can add any other details I want. I think my monster is going to need a mouth. I think I'm going to give my monster a black wiggly mouth, and I'm going to have a tongue sticking out. So you can just continue to cut and add whatever kind of little details you would like to your puppet to help bring it to life. Try and add things that give it some character, that make it a little special looking, and almost give it like a personality. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to glue those on. So I'm just going to keep going in and adding different things to my puppet until I like it. If you would like to add any extra things dangling off the sides, you can add things like arms coming out from the sides. If you want anything sticking out, I would say to glue it on from the back so you don't see where it's attached, and then it would just be coming out from your puppet. I think I'm going to give my puppet a hat, and that one I would glue on the front because it's okay if it overlaps with the face. But anything like arms or like a tail or other kinds of body parts, I would say you'd want to glue those out from the sides. If you want to use any of the yarn that is in your Art Club folder, you can use some of that. If you want to add like crazy hair or something, that could be pretty cool. You can do whatever you would like to bring your puppet to life. And that is my finger puppet all finished. I added some yarn hair on the sides coming out from the bottom of its hat. Now that it is done, I can place my fingers on the inside and test it out. Be careful while you're doing this because the glue is probably still drying, so you don't want to rip apart those sides. If they do come apart, just add a little bit more glue and wait for it to fully dry before you open it up. You can always take some of your felt scraps and stuff the top of your finger puppet with those scraps, and that will give it a little bit more shape all the way at the top where maybe your fingers aren't able to reach, and it will help fluff it up and give it a little bit more shape. Once you're done, you can wash your paintbrush from your glue. Make sure to put the cap back on and tape it shut so it doesn't make a mess all over the place. If you have extra scraps, you can always make more than one puppet with whatever you have left. I can't wait to see the cool puppet designs you guys have come up with. Try your best, have fun, and get creative, and I'll see you next Friday. Bye!